gonna be real, this is my fucking fault. Like, I just said a bunch of shit during the last episode about how much we've liked the material we've done lately. And you really cannot... There is no God, but there is something that is angry at me, and it listens for satisfaction.
I think it might be you.
Okay, it's my subconscious.
I think it's your own sense of irony, kind of just attacking you. Not attacking you, but sort of just making you pay the piper, so to speak.
Is it sentient? Is it like a Kamen Rider thing where there's this black goop that turns into a fucking monster? What the hell is this?
For real, I think it might be. I think we've been so fucking deep in the irony hole for so fucking long that our own senses of irony have become apart from us. And they have their own sort of set of goals separate from ours.
Where's the writer then? That's my question. We need to find the fucking person who can side jump kick across the room, because I'm gonna be honest, when this thing starts growing like crab claws and lizard tails and shit, I'm not ready for that fight. My best self-defense thing is capoeira, and when you use capoeira, they rule your death as a suicide.
Thankfully, I do not think that this is that kind of story. I think it's more, less William S. Burroughs, less, Jet Li flick, more John Updike.
Do you know what happened to me about a month ago?
What's that?
I saw that time travel movie, Palm Springs, right? And after I watched it, and I thought about that, and I thought about how we ended up enjoying the whole rent-a-girlfriend thing.
Yeah.
And I just decided internally, I'm actually cool with rom-coms. It can be done. Everything has a high failure rate.
Yeah.
I just had, my own fucking confirmation bias.
Mm-hmm.
And I decided all of that shit. And then in our little just prep doc, that little Google doc just tells me what the fucking future is. It says Komi-San. And now, my brain knows rom-coms are alright, but my heart hates them again.
I think they call that cognitive dissonance.
I think they call that how, modern racism works. I support rom-com rights, but I don't want to live near them.
I married a rom-com, but, I will still, every now and again, at dinner, say something really fucking stupid about them.
I will support rom-com rights on television, and then my old alt-right podcast episodes come out and I get kicked off of SNL for my opinions on fucking rom-coms.
Wait, who was that? Are you referencing a specific person right now?
I was sort of mashing Shane Gillis together with another incident.
Okay. Who's he?
Oh, Shane Gillis was this dude who got kicked off of SNL because he had this joke, a bunch of Asian impressions, and he was like... Oh, yeah, it's not a great 21st century, Tal.
It's not a great 21st century.
Alright, so, for those of you with taste, Komi-San is a romantic comedy, as I said. Maybe... I was gonna say heavy on the romance, light on the comedy, but there are actually a lot of jokes. It's dense. It's a bad joke machine gun. If 30 Rock missed every shot, that is the number of jokes in Komi-San, but the quality isn't fucking there, but...
God, there's a certain fucking segment of Reddit that absolutely fucking loves this manga. Komi-San Can't Communicate. They're this was the favorite manga of everyone on Animemes who used to call themselves patricians, still do, to my knowledge. I don't know, I'm not on Reddit anymore, I don't hate myself. And to them, I say, I really hope that your beard ends up being less patchy in a couple of years.
Patricians, I hope they survive the sacking. Or maybe I don't. But yeah, it's pretty benighted in my opinion, as you can tell. The basic premise is that Komi is a high school girl with a very broad communication disorder, and also all of her classmates are fetishistically attached to her for...
It's really fucking weird.
It is weird. I will not disagree with you for a second there. It is so fucking annoying, I barely noticed that it's weird.
That too, yeah,
It would be like if a talking moth cursed at you every morning while you were trying to sleep.
She doesn't talk, though.
True.
She just has little, what would you call them? Narrative bubbles that point at her. I don't know.
She has that. She has a adorable thing where she writes in a notebook and on chalkboards and shit.
Okay, so if you were looking for a review of Komi-san, here it is. It's a fucking waifu manga. It's barely worth any further discussion. Like, there's so immensely little room for nuance in this genre besides baiting a work as such and then doing something actually interesting like Rent a Girlfriend or Bunny Girl Senpai or whatever. But like, as for the straight examples like Komi, no, sorry, I just don't buy 23 volumes of Don't You Wish You Could Date Her because it's not telling an interesting story. It's selling an extremely uncomplicated fantasy, right? And it's already a known quantity that I hate when it feels like a work is trying to sell me something, so this thing never really had a chance with me.
Waifu manga is sort of a quantifiable phenomenon as of late, and
I fucking hate it. I had all sorts of, like, we can go into it in a second. Get your thoughts out there first.
What drives me up all four of the walls in the room is that every waifu manga feels like it's for people who found harem manga too emotionally complicated.
In a way, it is almost sadder than harem manga. Because, like, harem manga, right, indulges the fantasy of, like, having all of these women just all over your dick, right?
Yeah.
Waifu manga is just one, man. Just fucking one. That's all I want. I'll take just one.
It's crazy, and the whole waifu manga thing, like, because the protagonist is always this non-entity, and
I had
the
some thoughts about that too.
All follow this formula of basically, I guess the equation is sex object plus conventional red flag plus desperation.
Yeah, I like that.
It tends to be the waifu manga formula.
Yes. There will be something deeply wrong with them.
Like, the thing that's sort of trending right now is the fucking one where it's about a manga author who gets kidnapped by Yandere number 14. That's a Yandere waifu manga.
You showed me that. My phone wouldn't let me read it because the place that you fucking found it was just so goddamn full of worms, I'm pretty sure. So that is the kind of manga that we are talking about here. The kind that my phone won't even allow me to fucking open.
Beautiful. Komi-sama certainly fits that mold, at least as far as my equation goes, because everyone is focused on her as this tall, slender, pale goddess. They are really into the term god or goddess in this. It gets weird, as I was saying.
Fucking...
Like, it goes past gag into something's wrong.
It's like a fucking Corey Graves wrote a fucking manga.
Yeah, and
I can't believe that my least favorite part of the women's division just took over the women's Actually, I can believe it because they just do everything I hate on that show.
It doth be like that. But I kind of want to talk about the dude for a second here, because I feel that not necessarily easy points, but there are magnetic points towards what's weird about the way these things tend to do the women, right?
Yeah.
I think there's insufficient focus on how we sort of loop all the way past generic or self-insert.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly. Fucking exactly. I fucking refuse to accept that this character archetype is just a fact of life in shonen that I just need to accept because, hey, that's shonen biz, baby. Like, I won't fucking do it. I hate the idea of a dude who is intentionally made to be boring, like a featureless, like, cipher to the reader, so that the neat reading this doesn't feel like he's getting cucked when instead bland asshole and the resident waifu start making eyes at one another. Like, fucking Jesus, Tadano's name, the kid's name is Tadano.
Yeah.
Who cares, by the way? It translates to ordinary. Like, he wants you to know that this is you. Like, the author wants you to know this man is you. Like, the only interesting thing about him is that he has that little, like, white poof of hair that I've got. That's it.
He doesn't always draw the white poof.
Lazy fuck.
By the way, fun fact about this, I skipped ahead after I read the 100 chapters and I read the most recent 20 because...
Right, they introduced, like, this new fucking character who becomes the main character, and her defining character trait is that she's kind of nice. She's nice.
It's...
And she's like a Gyaru or something.
15% more cynical than that. Because as of the last, I don't know, maybe 2 years, there was just a mini trend of Gyaru manga. So... this desperate motherfucker, 300 chapters in, decided that we were going to take the Betty and Veronica route.
And fucking people say the MCU is product.
Man, a lot of things are product. Insulin is product. But so is the mixed sewage.
And that's what's so fucking, like, insidious about this to me, is that, like, it is taking loneliness and selling it back to the people reading this.
Yeah, that's
Like, I hate the idea that one needs a moral justification to both like and or hate a thing. For the past 2 or 3 years, I've had to have this whole fucking monologue about how you didn't actually engage with the text when you read Attack on Titan. And if you think that it's, you know, like Japanese nationalism, then you're an idiot. It's a text about, you know, like the dangers of nationalism and how that leads to tragedy and tragedy leads to hatred and hatred leads to...
hold on. There are bipeds that took the whole Attack on Titan arc as pro-nationalism.
Yes.
I could go on, but this will take me all the way from kicking Komi-San in the ribs, so I'm going to leave that alone.
Well, maybe it's worth talking about, because, like, you've got, you know, because it's a phenomenon larger than Attack on Titan, right? The idea of, like, I need a moral justification for why I like or dislike this show, right? Because... yeah, there's going to be, like, the dumbasses who actually believe, right? Who, like, just engage with the text on such a surface level, right? That they think, oh, yeah, this thing wants me to believe that, you know, like, fascism is cool or something like that. That's bad. And thank you for thinking that fascism is bad, I guess.
Thank you for not being the worst case scenario
You did
reader.
some work there. Thank you. I wish you would do a little bit more work and maybe engage with the text a little bit, right? So that there's that half, right? And then there's the half who, somewhere around 2013 or so, saw how much hype this was getting and were like, eh. And then came up with a moral justification for, eh. And I get the feeling of, right? Like Squid Game just happened, right? And people wouldn't shut up and I was getting annoyed, right?
Right.
But I'm just not going to watch it. Just not going to watch it. The hype died down like within 2 weeks. I'm fine. It's fine. I don't need to
just live his life.
I can just live my life. I don't need to come up with some fucking reading. So I could talk, right, about how Komi-san is selling loneliness back to NEETs, right? Or Doomers, as they're known in the States. But I don't really feel that I need to do that because it's just fucking bad art. It's bad art. There's nothing to it. It is just product. It's just bad art. That's it. That's all the conversation should fucking be.
Sometimes when you make me fucking laugh like that, I get fucking angry because I have to mix down my own fucking laughter later. And then I'm at like 4:30 a.m. just hating myself for being podcast laugh guy. As for selling loneliness back to people, I really do think that there is kind of a frontier that you can crack.
Mm-hmm.
Where you are almost doing to human isolation what fucking gacha games do for gambling.
Yeah.
And
yeah, absolutely. I've got like 6 pages of this on fucking Google Docs right now.
Every time it fucking happens,
I've decided to tone it down just a little bit.
You know, we can even go into it. I'd be down for letting you kick this thing's ribs for a while. I may slip in a little dagger of mine first before we get into our... You know, yeah, we'll start before we get into our main event here. I have some posting to get out of my system.
Sure. We'll talk about the actual text for a second.
First off, now I mentioned that I read 320 chapters of this thing, and it's not really winding down. It's like on Archie Comics level hell energy, but
I hate this fucking I hate it. I fucking hate that even Bleach had like things that it did from arc to arc that were slightly different.
A long time ago, in a distant past, before Aku even crawled out of the hole of evil. I watched a middling comedy called I Love You, Man. It was an hour too long, and my immature middle school self spent that hour yelling, "End!" at the fucking screen. And you have to understand, I love comic books, and I can read some garbage. I have just Barnes & Noble read half of Millar's fucking bibliography without, like, hating myself. And I am looking at my phone, doing this for this podcast, just mouthing the word "end" at Komi-san as this Gyaru, which, as far as I can tell, by the way, this was a youth social movement when I was maybe 12. This is not a huge contemporaneous habit amidst the children.
No, I have not an allegory. I have like a American sort of analog to that.
Hit me.
It's like, you know how like 3 years ago, like people started really being into the idea of like the big titty goth GF?
Oh, god damn it.
Yeah. So like that,
Fuck
but in
my
Japan.
mouth.
Yeah, because goth, they've been around since Bauhaus, right?
Yeah. That's where we're at. So I hate this fucking show.
Oh yeah, there is a show now. I didn't watch it. I just read them. I'm not fucking watching it.
I read it because I read relatively quickly,
Yeah.
and I didn't want to dedicate as much time as possible.
Because I can't watch something any quicker than its runtime, and its runtime was already too long for me. So I just read.
So because I hate this, I want to just do a quick aside.
Mm-hmm.
I've decided I'm gonna list. Here's my game. First, for a second, I have 2 games ready, really. Okay. First, I'm going to just identify everything fucking positive I can think of about Komi-san to make sure that I'm still fucking sane.
Sure.
First off, just formally, you know what? And I'll give it a little naughty rose. I'll give it a little pedal for this. Mm-hmm. Just structurally, the joke where an angry person puts too much text into a panel.
Yes.
Is function.
That is a good joke.
That just worked. Oh my god. Oh no, there is not a second thing in my dock.
Fuck.
I didn't. Okay, back to kicking it in the ribs. The art style really decays, and it was visually fine. What was being written was annoying, but was visually, like, not irritating me. And then this sort of weird, lazy, boxy style sets in by the time that the Gyaru has taken over.
Yes, So this author had maybe 3 character designs in him, and he keeps introducing new fucking characters and phasing out the old ones as though he's got all of these exciting new character designs.
Dude, I feel like I'm watching WCW 2000.
I don't know who any of these people are.
He keeps throwing in new people I don't give a fuck about because of their "she needs 100 threads" thing, which, by the way, I don't know why your rom-com needs, like, a pirate king thing. But it annoys the piss out.
It's shonen. It's basically like SEO for shonen, and like staying on top in the fucking popularity rankings of whatever fucking magazine you're in. So she needs her pirate king goal.
This is more of a logic thing. It's not a moral thing because I don't give a fuck about this comic.
At least that's my theory.
But that I'm about to get into. But this whole 100 friends thing, right?
Yeah.
This person has like a communication disorder, right?
Yeah.
Hyper extrovert normies can morally care about 200 people, I think, according to like general truisms, right?
That's a lot of fucking people.
I'm just saying the bottom 75 of these guys are not going to be engaged with very heavily. I also hate a lot of the characters, but I feel like I'm drifting from my promise to get into my second game. I was going to do more of these. I was going to do a lot more of these I was going to present, but I didn't care. So I have 3 quick waifu manga parodies. Because I just read...
We decided to play a game here.
I skimmed 2 others before I jumped into this fucking bullshit.
Okay.
First we have Staying Composed. Saito's study partner seems like the perfect girl, but she's been dead for 3 days. Not Tim Burton's The Corpse Bride dead. Rigid, unmoving, stale blood dead.
No, like the chick from Doki Doki Literature Club dead, where you have to spend the entire weekend there.
Can Saito weekend at Bernie's her through exams? And can love, like Moss, still bloom. 2. Mine Fräulein. Reiji has been building up the courage to ask out his class rep all year. A glamorous exchange student. When he finally makes his move, he walks in on her saluting the flag of the Third Reich. Can you Can you fall in love with someone that spits on your whole race? For Reiji, the desperate fuck, the answer is yes. I don't even remember what I wrote for this third one. This is going to be a surprise for all of us.
I swear to God, fucking animemes would refer to her as, like, Hitler-chan or something like that.
Eject the subreddit into this, whatever. Pedal X Metal. Kaoru is a nothing man who does nothing. His new neighbor is a supermodel sex addict whose husband died of a money overdose. There's just one problem. Driving under the influence of love and tequila. She killed a child in a hit and run. And still refuses to get help. How many chapters will it take Kaoru to find the spine to end this farce? Hint, it's a 3-digit number. And only after she kills another child. So, if I have a point there, which I don't really, but I'm just going to reverse engineer it, these things are really, really rigidly attached to the nothing protagonist meets blow-up doll with dumb, air quotes, flaw that either is meaningless or reveals a degree of unimaginable desperation.
I want to talk about Komi first.
Cool.
Then I want to talk about Tadano.
Go.
So the manatees have seen fit to make her really hot and give her very bad social anxiety, so she never speaks. Okay, and she wants to make friends. Like a lot of... She wants to make friends with people, and she's in love with... No, she's in love with Tadano. Sorry, Christ. I got him mixed up. I think as a character, what I would compare her to... Because I'm trying to act in as good faith as possible here, right? Mm-hmm. As a character, what I'd compare her to is like one of those potato-powered light bulbs that they made us make in elementary school science class. Like, all of the parts are there, and they work, but they don't do much beyond, their sole, very limited intended purpose. And the novelty wears off extremely quickly. And because I live, like half of my life in anime and the other half in baseball, sometimes I tend to think of one using the rules of the other, and more than once, I'm catching myself thinking, man, Komi's fucking wasting this thing. They should trade her to Akamatsu or something where she wouldn't have to do all the heavy lifting. Maybe she goes into free agency next year, that's what she does. Because she's a paint by numbers characters. They painted inside the lines at the very least. For better or for worse. I don't think it is her that I find myself the most annoyed by. She's sort of just a plot device, really.
She is a functional mechanism in something deeply stupid.
Yes. Then there's Tadano, right? And I've already said one or two fucking words about Tadano.
I can't even call him functional or a mechanism. He is merely a space where... I wish this came with a stencil where you could just draw your best imitation of your fucking face.
You, yeah. Like, a lot of the times, what I find happens when I'm reading this fucking shit is that the writer will give said homunculus one character trait. Oh, look. Like, this one here, he's got bad luck. Look at him. He's like a perfectionist or something. This one plays Dragon Quest. This one is said to be a writer. Tadano's trait is he's nice. And I'm not decrying having a character be nice. Like, I do not demand that every show I watch be Always Sunny or The Sopranos. But you're gonna have to fucking do better than that. Like, I've never been as into shoujo, right? But shoujo artists haven't figured out that if at the core of your manga is a love story, and that is what is at the core, for better or worse, of Komi-san. Maybe you should give your characters stronger personalities and actual like flaws. Like, yeah, Shoho will engage in wish fulfillment too. Like, here's this impossibly hot guy who's kind of got a mean streak, but I can fix him. Sure, fine. Yeah, but like the female protagonists of these things that are meant to be identified with by the female readers are way more likely to be an actual character with like a personality and shit. Fucking imagine that.
Wish fulfillment as at least, I don't know, a thread or a vector in something. I'm going to surprise you given everything else I've ever said. Doesn't have to be terrible.
No.
But in the same way,
it's better. It makes for better wish fulfillment when a character has idiosyncrasies, like interesting idiosyncrasies behind or beyond, like this guy's like the best Dragon Quest player in Japan or something.
But in the same way, there's a difference between, like, I don't know, non-transphobic every flavor beans and a slot machine. There's a difference between Cinderella for wish fulfillment and Backdoor Sluts 9. Are you picking up what I'm putting down?
I was just working out why you called them non-transphobic every flavor beans, and then I realized that it was a Harry Potter joke.
Oh yeah. Sometimes I drift race a few too many threads in.
Sorry, yeah, no, my head was there for most of that riff right there. Sorry.
It's all good.
Yeah, I just think when you do this, when you have this protagonist be this fucking intentionally boring, it's this cowardly capitulation to sales trends. Like when they write a manga to be like it's a visual novel. Like the text almost seems to resent the fact that the male lead even has to be on panel. It's just another reminder that he's not you. Or more to the point, that you're not him.
Before you drift away from him, I just want to make sure I get this in there, because there's one move that kind of baffled me.
Mm-hmm.
There's a thing in Tadano's backstory, because in good faith, I did read the first 120 chapters of this in the last 20 because I'm fucking crazy. There's a thing in his backstory early on that he used to be.
Oh, he was like a chuny or whatever, right?
He was a chuny, yeah. He was someone who thought he had special powers. And I'm trying to figure out what we gained by him not being a chuny now. Like, it's not brilliant, but he would have fucking something. And it's like, you literally told me this used to be a character. Like, a character that had a trait.
No, I'm not even gonna give them any credit for almost the ghost of a character that he might have had, because like the whole former chuny thing is kind of a cliche already.
Yeah. Gods.
So I know I just a little bit ago spent a good amount of time being like, you shouldn't have a moral justification for stuff that you don't like. You should just be able to not like it, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm. Don't you like it when the universe pulls the rug out from under you?
Like, should I talk about it? Should I talk about how...
I say yes. I have all the editing time in the world, dude.
Okay. The disclaimer is, right, you don't need to give a shit about anything I'm about to say. And it does not make you a worse person, I guess, if you do not give a shit about anything that I'm about to say and you like, Komi-san based on its own merits anyway. This is just sort of like the thing that's really fucking getting to me about it. It's not like, I swear to God, I don't like Komi based on its own merits, right? This is not because I can't find a better reason not to like this show.
I am so excited.
Manga, whatever.
I'm so excited for this disclaimer. It sounds like Ether 2.
Well, it's because I'm feeling somewhat hypocritical here, because I just talked about how much I hate the trend of, I hate this show, and also it's problematic, and here's, the really fucking stretchy reading that I came up with to make it so. Or, I like this show that's not very good, objectively speaking, but it helped me with my, whatever the fuck it is.
Seraph of the End, anti-fascist totem.
Or something. I... I'm just thinking about, like someone who's talking. I'm imagining in my head someone who talks about fucking the fuck is it called? I know, pick a fucking isekai. And how it helps their struggle with yeah. And like how their mom was abusive to them or something, and they needed to get past that, and somehow Kirito helped them, or so. I don't know. That is my like half-assed made up moral justification that they have for liking Sword Art Online. It's not going to be that necessarily, but like it always kind of feels like it's that.
Well, Sam, I come from an immigrant background, and I had to deal with a lot of troubling external forces starting a small business in Miami with, a lot of resistance from entrenched, and I'll say it, powerful white forces. And what got me through that was cocaine. And with my friend Cocaine, I managed to make a stand. Scarface is pretty fun.
It's a great movie. All right, so here we go. And again, Komi-san is just bad, right? It is just fucking paint by numbers ass product, right? Deeply fucking manipulative, and that's part of why I have the problem with it that I do. But mostly just a goddamn commodity. It's like doing nothing interesting. It's like it's formulaic, it's masturbatory, it's sterile, it's without nuance, and all like it's not doing anything different than any other entry in the genre is doing. They all have literally the exact same fucking goal, right? Mm-hmm. It's not art, it's product. Okay, so it can be a very comforting thing to wrap yourself in the warm blanket of your own mental illness, right? To feel validated in every decision that you make in the name of self-care. To withdraw from the world that only seems to get worse every day. But do you know something? You are a person, you are a human being, and you in fact need to be around other people in order to function on any level. It's too often I see friends and strangers alike forget this, and when they do, they become way more vulnerable to the lure of, and I hate myself for even like coming up with this lazy fucking shorthand, toxic escapism. No, that's actually too awful. It needs a better name. The poison pill of escapism, right? We'll call it the poison pill. There we go. And the use of media as a replacement for other humans, video games, The Office, anime, etc. And when I see that a piece of media recognizes this tendency and seeks to, in fact, make money off of it, I see that as a really specific brand of despicable right there. And that is, kind of at the core of why I am so chafed by Komi-san and its contemporaries.
Well, that is a good insight, and I don't even have a clever jump off from that. I think that mass-produced isn't the word. It's closer to when 3 people really get together to design some NFT monkeys to sell to people with gambling addictions.
Yeah.
And there is a feeling as you look at this thing that this is made to take advantage of a specific type of deprived person wishing they could experience or be or feel something else.
I'm just thinking about the tendency that I sort of see in people who, when their mental health takes a turn for the worse, stop talking to people for months in the name of sort of okay, I'm taking a break, I'm working on myself. Maybe it's a different strokes for different folks sort of thing, right? But I just do not see how that helps and how replacing people with media helps.
If the prison system has taught me anything, solitary confinement is not a growth medium.
No, that's how you destroy yourself for life. And I don't know. I don't feel too exceptionally qualified to talk about this, given that psychology degree I do not have.
That's a fair point. I actually do have certain degrees. I've got a degree from a fancy place in English.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a degree from a fancy place in creative writing.
Sure.
So you know what? I'm not even going to go full hyperbole. I'm not going to say most. The comic heavy in Komi-sama,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going hyperbolic, is the 27th most annoying fucking character I have seen in the last 10 years. I am including video games. I am including pornography. I am including fan fiction. 27th might not sound terrible to you, but we are including the creations of children, the mentally ill, the sex offender Chris-chan. You have to understand, you do not want to be in the Power 100. And, you know, I shouldn't even say it's deployed as a shield. I think it's just deployed as a quirk.
Mm-hmm.
But the comic heavy has a... I'm trying to remember what the works word for, because it wasn't anything too, let's say, deft or progressive, but essentially they drift between gender identifications.
Oh, Najimi, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that was the name of a fucking kingdom that I came up with for a D&D campaign once. Apropos of nothing means nothing.
That sounds like their gimmick, and it is, and it's loudly deployed, but what they really do is fill panels with word balloons. And they fill them with so many words that I could excise out with the crop tool.
Man, remember Girl Genius and how I stopped reading it because they wouldn't shut the fuck up in that comic?
I do.
Yeah. Najimi reminded me of nothing so much as Girl Genius and its endless fucking text bubbles.
I came to call Najimi fake Fujiwara. As
I like that.
Someone who is supposed to be a funny singlet in a rom-com.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not there. And sometimes, I don't know, man, a botched comic heavy is like botched open heart surgery. It just hurts.
Najimi made me kind of understand the tendency to look for a moral justification for something that you do not like.
I totally get what you're saying, because when I was on my first initial read through, I was thinking there has to be something offensive about this, and I just realized no, they just keep fucking talking.
They're just an annoying fucking asshole. I remember reading this thing, listening, and like really just wanting to fucking turn the fucking page as Najimi just goes fucking on and on and on, right? And just looking at their character design and thinking they're like fetishizing gender non-conforming characters, right? They're doing that, right? I can put that on them, right? And then I get this flashback to like 3 or 4 years ago when The Last Jedi comes out, and this fucking lily white nerd cannot find a good reason that it is not good. So instead, she is like, oh man, Poe Dameron, the Latino character, acting pretty like hot-blooded, a little bit impulsive. That's not like that's not stereotypical or anything. I'm thinking like, that's the best you fucking got right there. And so like I recognize me sort of wanting to give into that instinct with Najimi, so I decide not to. I decide not to. Najimi is not a bad character because they're a bad representation of, you know, a gender non-conforming individual. They're a bad character because they won't shut the fuck up, they're annoying, and they're not interesting.
You know what, Komi? Thank you for that personal growth. I learned something about myself and the world, and maybe just conflict addiction, when I finally realized Najimi isn't Sambo. Najimi is Towley.
I know! I fucking hate that, though. I hate that like, there's now a disease that I have to manage, right? It's something that I just have to live with, is like wanting desperately for a thing I hate to also be problematic.
Well, it's better than not knowing it, huh?
I guess so. I don't like knowing it very much either.
I don't know, I feel like I'm always on the opposite conclusion of like the fucking H.P. Lovecraft story. If there are giant worms in that mountain sending fuck this planet signals out to a distant star.
Oh, you want to know about it?
I could use the heads up. Give me a week to mentally adjust myself. You know what I'm afraid of? Just looking out the window and just seeing a mass of tentacles and teeth. And that's when I start shitting my fucking pants out my mouth, okay?
I don't know. Like, I feel like if I'm seeing those out the window, then it means that it's already over, and I could have spared myself, like, the weeks of shitting myself.
Oh man.
What I'm saying is that sometimes I wish I were dumb.
It
Not that I'm that bright anyway, but sometimes I wish I were even less so.
Being dumb seems to have its advantages. Not financial, because I had my brother-in-law try to sell me shit coins all weekend, but there are some lifestyle advantages to being fucking dumb and opening Komi-San and just getting endorphins and closing it and never thinking about it fucking again.
Shit coins. I was talking with my coworkers about milk the other day, and I find myself defaulting to calling, non-dairy milks alt milk, and then my fucking brain worms create a type of milk called Doge milk. And I wanted to fucking die.
Can you only buy it with crypto?
Doge milk.
Oh god, kill
me.
Sorry. Alright everyone, that's in case you're wondering what the side effects of 150 total chapters of Komi-San mainline directly into your cerebral fucking cortex are. Bang.
Next week, we're like running down like all of those fucking grandfathered in ass dumb shit things about anime and manga that I don't know why they're still there, and I don't know why they're put up with, because like in any other fucking medium they'd be the death knell of a thing, because they're so awful, and yet I keep seeing them fucking everywhere. And sometimes it's the featureless protagonist like Tadano, who like they're trying to make this fucking cutesy joke about how fucking ordinary he is, but I just like you could fucking write him out of this thing and just like have this little blank space where he's supposed to be, and you can just like kind of squint your eyes and imagine yourself there, and there's like no really noticeable difference.
I'm looking forward to the episode for multiple reasons. Amidst them is not reading 150 pages of waifu manga.
150 chapters of waifu manga.
150 chapters of waifu
manga. Oh, there
manga.
were in fact probably several thousand pages.
That's part of my brain, and I looked at two other works for comparison. Something trending amidst American incels is a waifu manga. The gimmick seems to be that she cries and is divorced. And I'm staring at this thing, and I think I finally cracked it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when just pickup artist materials started leaking to the general public, and it just became a common circle stomping topic?
Yeah.
I remember the thing that just your psyche automatically rejects is just the general theme of finding the weakest link and preying on it.
Yes.
And this is a waifu manga, a fantasy, something you project your dreams into, built on that impulse.
There's a lot of shit that I would change about shonen if I could.
It's not even a shonen thing, it's like...
Oh, is it seinen? Fuck
it's
me, man.
Shit.
Seinen used to be, like, better on average than shonen.
There's an unfortunate bleed where the word seinen just kind of means people have jobs.
I fucking hate this. Seinen used to mean, like, fucking Serial Experiments Lion and Black Lagoon and fucking, actually, Lane was an anime first, so I guess it doesn't... That's weird, right? How, like...
Right?
Yes, manga and anime are different things, but they're so, like, deeply linked. I don't know, it's interesting, because we don't have anything like that in the States. There's nothing to compare it to.
Yeah, it's definitely a unique ecosystem.
So, like, I want to call something that was only ever an anime, or at the very least, it was an anime first, a seinen, when that is technically fallacious, because only, manga can have demographics like that, right? Or demographic genres like that. But yeah, no, like, your your Black Lagoons, Technolizes of the world.
Yeah, we are in an era of many awkward changes in which
You know, I really like Josei shit. Josei is to, it's like, it is to like a shoujo what like seinen is to show. Yeah. Josei, I loved most of the Josei that I've read. It's great shit.
It really helps when your target audience can't just be captivated by jiggle physics all the way to the finish line.
Yeah, fucking imagine that.
Wild shit. If you want a salient takeaway from this, Komi-san fucking sucks.
I am worse off for having read any amount of Komi-san. Like now and a couple years ago when it first got recommended to me.
I am worried that because I've read several...
several dozen chapters.
Several dozen chapters, I don't know, X thousand pages.
Mm-hmm.
I am worried that when I'm dying, I'll remember this comic instead of like one of my better ex-girlfriends or something. Like, remember it was alright.
She was...
It's okay to cite someone positive, right? Is that weird? Whatever. That...
Did I ever meet... I don't think I've met most of them. I feel like I've met 2.
It's been a wild, rocky road.
How many have there been?
Oh, God. It's just like 8.
Like, the vast majority I have never even come into contact with.
Look, dude, when there's enough churn, you gotta set a minimum threshold.
I guess so. I wouldn't know.
Anyway, this is Weeaboo Hell. In theory, I should really be targetable by this stuff.
It's Weeaboo Hell, and it truly fucking was.
Oh, yeah. Anyway, fuck this comic and, fuck cops. See ya.
Fuck cops.